This court case has been dragging out for so long, but this recent development is a pretty big deal for Apple. The Apple versus Epic court case drama continues to play out with some salacious peeks behind the curtains on how these corporations do business. Apple is back in the court's crosshairs over how the company has ignored parts of the decision handed down back in 2021. To oversimplify, back in 2021, Apple was supposed to open up some of their policy on how developers could allow people to pay for in-app purchases. As an example, if you had a subscription to an app, the developer was supposed to be able to let you pay for that by going through a link to a website instead of solely through Apple's payment system. So in 2024, Apple introduced new systems which allowed for out-of-app purchases, but still collected up to a 27% cut of each payment, absolutely violating the spirit of that decision in the original Epic court case. The judge presiding over that case, Judge Rogers, commented that every move Apple has made since has been to enforce anti-competitive business practices, and that Apple's Vice President of Finance, Alex Roman, outright lied under oath. Apple withheld important information regarding a meeting that included Tim Cook in 2023 over how Apple would handle the 2021 verdict. This could mean criminal charges for Roman. Additionally, this is just kind of a bad look for Tim Cook. Following these disclosures and examining Apple communication during this time, former Senior Vice President Phil Schiller was against this policy of collecting fees on web purchases, and Tim Cook ignored that advice, implementing the plan we see today. Also, one of the reasons that a lot of community platforms like Patreon see price increases if you pay in any way on an iPhone. Apple do be greedy like that. So it seems Cook is likely buffered from any significant blowback, as the main legal transgression happened because of Roman's omission of important information. But this could be viewed against some of Cook's previous statements and other legal proceedings. Cook has a reputation of being a very skilled speaker, but numerous times, under oath, he's come close to that line where we might question the veracity of some of his statements.
Has Apple ever retaliated against or disadvantaged a developer who went public about their frustrations with the App Store?
Sir, we do not retaliate or bully people. It's strongly against our company culture.
We heard from a company called Tile, which said that Apple had access to confidential information about the apps distributed by the App Store, and given that, juxtaposed against this language in the exclusive agreement, you can understand why we would have concerns about anti-competitive conduct.
Yeah, Congressman, we run the App Store to help developers, not hurt them. We respect innovation. It's what our company is built on. We would never steal somebody's IP.
He's very good at politically sidestepping certain topics, but this is a situation where the direct outcome of a bad policy was laid at his feet. The buck literally stopped at his desk, and he moved forward with a terrible idea that was certainly designed to ignore the court's previous ruling. Now, Judge Rogers has mandated that Apple immediately cease collecting fees on purchases made off-app, and of course, Apple representatives have indicated that they will appeal this ruling, further dragging out the Epic lawsuit drama. Apple has been accused numerous times of circumventing regulator demands, or at times maliciously complying with court verdicts, but staging responses in a way that benefit the company. And in a case that Apple largely won against Epic, following this one point that they were mandated to comply with, Apple still found new methods to squeeze both consumers and app developers. So this one seems pretty cut and dry, not a lot of wiggle room for Apple executives on this one. So I'd end with some kind of gimmicky, but what do you think? Do you think it's good for people to be able to buy things without giving Apple a 30% cut? And obviously, yes, that was the crux of the original verdict, and Apple was correctly accused of anti-competitive business practices there. But I think it would be interesting to chat about some of the ramifications of these most recent disclosures and whether Apple might face even stricter scrutiny moving forward in future court cases. Above all, we'll need to keep watching this case play out. The Epic versus Apple drama isn't done yet, because the wheels of justice turn so slowly. So let me hear from you. Drop me some of those tasty hot takes down in the comments below. I always like kind of pointing out a certain trend that I see in these types of stories. I've done experiments where I've replaced the company name and people are rightly outraged at particular business practices, but then I'll tell them, oh no, that was actually Apple all along, and then they seem to walk back their previous outrage. I'm curious how this one will go. We'll just play this one direct, straight up. As always, thanks so much for watching, sharing, supporting the channel. Sharing is a big deal. When we share across social media, it helps draw some more viewers to these types of topics, especially as the YouTube algorithm likes to sit on a lot of this stuff. And of course, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart. This list of names scrolling by on your screen right now, none of my videos, reviews, editorials would be possible without these people. These are my amazing patrons. Their generosity helps keep the lights on here in the Gadget Lab. They're the coolest tech pals in the universe. So I hope you'll consider joining the community at patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy, where we have a lot of fun kind of digging into some of these types of news stories, both on the Patreon and on our private Discord. We have fun. It's good times. Now, you know where you can find me across the rest of the internet at SomeGadgetGuy, basically everywhere, but these days I'm trying to spend a bit more time on the Mastodons, a little on the Blue Skis, and a lot less so on the Facebooks and the Instagrams, the Threads, definitely none at all on that dumpster fire site, and I will catch you all on the next video.